Hello, everyone. This is Regular Guy, and today I'm going to see how many narratives I can shatter by putting these two words together in this sequence. Information market. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do here is just kind of look at what Google says. Okay, this is unscripted. Haven't done this yet. So obviously I'm going to go to the Wikipedia at some point, but let's see what else they say. Okay, it's founded in 2005. I know that's the information market. Here's an integrated database. I don't know what that is. In several markets, information is sold not only directly but indirectly. Information markets, and whoa, hang on. It's the government of the United Kingdom. All right, I'm not going to read that. Well, hang on. Can be formal and informal, real or virtual markets where the principal commodity being traded is information. Hey, all right, I'm on board. Okay, all right. However, unlike traditional commodity markets, there are limited numbers of sellers and saleable information, and there are a host of potential buyers whose needs for information are very varied. Okay, the UK government. Sorry, that's not helpful. All right, let's get back to Wikipedia finally. All right, let's see how well they did. Although information has been bought and sold since ancient times, the idea of an information marketplace is relatively recent. Okay. That's first of all, I want to highlight this idea. All right. The idea of an information marketplace is relatively recent. The idea of an information marketplace is relatively recent, I suppose, but I don't think it's fully formed, to be honest. The idea that we have right now is really still like anybody who thinks the people who wrote this passage probably thought they understood what an information marketplace is, and I don't think they did. Okay, I'll show why in this video. All right, the nature of such markets is still evolving. All right, let's just stop there, which, yeah, complicates development. What? Oh, whatever. Look, it complicates Wikipedia's ability to give us a coherent, although that's a pretty short entry, isn't it? Let's see. Do they use any good examples here? Nope, no examples. All right. I got an easy example. I didn't come up with this one. I hope I can spell this word right. Okay. All right. So who wants to be a millionaire? They had some lifelines. All right. Let's just, I don't know what comes up. Lifelines. All right. Each lifeline, there's a safety net. Okay. But ask the audience. There we go. Ask the audience. All right, audience needs your the contestant needs your help. On your keypads, vote now. Or okay, audience, let's try and help the contestant. Okay. Now this is a lifeline. They call it a lifeline up here. Okay, lifeline. All right. That implies that the audience is going to give you the right answer, right? I mean, if there was any risk that the audience was going to give you the wrong answer, then it wouldn't be a very effective lifeline. Okay. What's going on there? Well, on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I don't know. What were some sample questions that they were asking there? I had some good questions on the original version. I don't know. What club did Alan Shepard use? That's a stupid one. The audience wouldn't know that one. Maybe they would. I don't know. If it was multiple choice, maybe they get it right. But what video game characters specialize in plumbing? I don't know. These are kind of dumb. All right, but anyway, the idea was that somewhere along the way you were going to get stuck. Okay, you just weren't going to have that information. All right, now I said I was going to shatter some narratives here, so let's back up. Not sure when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire first came on the air. I can't spell that guy's name, I guess. All right, so this guy, Bernie Ebbers. I guess he passed away. Okay, so we get to talk about him. Okay, he's Canadian American, co-founder and CEO of WorldCom. You never, well, not never, but that name might be like WorldCom. I sort of remember that MCI. Like back in the day. Okay, all right, and then that collapsed in 2002. Okay, so what the hell's going on? Okay, so why fraud? Okay, here we go. All right, so there's miscounting statements. Company filed for bankruptcy. Okay, well, the reason that this happened, you might find out why this happened. All right. What happened was that WorldCom stock price started nosediving. Uh, yeah, stock scandal. Okay. Uh, Wikipedia just calls it the WorldCom scandal. Yeah, they want to gloss over. Okay, what happened was that at some point the stock price of WorldCom started tanking. No one could figure out why. People were like, just outsiders looking at this, just watching the markets. We're just noticing that the stock price started to fall. If I do we wonder if they mention it. All right. They talk. Okay. Even before, here we go. Here we go. Even before the scandal broke, its credit had been reduced to junk status, and its stock had lost over 94% of its value. So what happened was that people were watching. If you read the news today and you see that some companies, stock price just tanked, 40% in one day or something, you probably can find out why. Okay. It's probably the headline is probably going to come with an explainer, of what went wrong and why investors are dumping this stock. Well, here's a situation where the stock price is plummeting, but nobody can figure out why. Okay. There was no scandal. All right. This is before the scandal broke. All right. But something's going on. Now, every effect has a cause. Okay. If people are selling stock in a company, it's because they've got information that they're trading on. Okay. Now, in this case, everybody knew that it had to be inside information because if it was public information, then the public would know why the stock was tanking. But if the stock is just tanking and no one knows why, then it must be because insiders, people who work inside the company and own the company's stock, are dumping it because they know something the public doesn't know. Now, you could call that insider trading. Maybe it is. So what? I don't care if it's, you call it that. The point is that it happened. Okay. And what it did was it caused the government, the SEC, to investigate. Okay, if the stock had not tanked, if the insiders had not traded on their inside information, then there never would have been an SEC investigation. There never would have been a scandal. Bernie Ebbers probably wouldn't have a Wikipedia page. And just not you we wouldn't know anything about this. Okay, now this isn't a situation where someone pulled the audience and asked for a lifeline. Okay, it's really the inverse. Okay, it was, if anything, illegal for the audience to offer its input. Okay, it was illegal in some sense, maybe, for the audience to vote and to tell us what the correct answer is, to tell us how much the stock is actually worth. Okay. But the audience ultimately did that. And in doing so, it forced the government to investigate and it caused a scandal to be revealed. Okay. Now, information markets. Okay. Was that an information market at work? Um, I doubt Wikipedia would give you a definition of information marketplace that lets you describe what happened to WorldCom as, the actions or triggered by an information marketplace. Okay. Let's see. Wikipedia wants to talk about newspapers and encyclopedias at risk of losing their positions as new technology greatly reduces the cost of creating. But remember, if this is really about new technology, then it really isn't something that's been happening since ancient times. You're like, hey, make up your mind here. Autonomous providers. Nobody here is talking about actual just stock markets. Okay. Um, this is just this Bernie Ebbers stuff. Okay. Lost my place there. But what happened to WorldCom? Um, it was the market, okay, reflecting information and informing the public, and then enforcing the government to take action. Um, anyway, the larger point I'm trying to make here, all right, this is the big, I don't know, um, this may be like, this may be what I should have said at the beginning of the video, but all markets are information markets, all of them, every single one of them. Doesn't matter what the market is. It's an information market. Okay. What people are buying and selling on any kind of market is information. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. So if the it does if what's being traded is something like coffee, okay, then what's really being traded is information about the coffee, information about its quality, where it was grown, what kind of condition it's in, information about consumer demand, for that product, something like that. It's always going to be information. It's always going to be people trading on information. Okay. Now, some people want to argue that, what the only thing that has value is, let's say human labor, human capital. Okay. Or some people might say the only thing that has value is, land or natural resources or something like that. But in order for anyone to trade on any of those things, they have to have information about those things. You can't buy land without knowing something about it. Well, you can, but I mean, people don't generally. They take the time to investigate, like, where's it located? How much is it? How much land are we talking about? And, for that matter, the seller needs that information too. The seller needs to know how much it's worth. So everything begins and ends with information. All these transactions begin and end with information. And that's true for barter economy, not just a monetary economy with stock market, but any barter economy. And so if you're thinking about the future and what's going to have value in the future, okay, what's going to matter? Well, you might think what's going to matter is, my skill set, what I can trade on, that kind of thing. Okay. That may be true, but in order for you to trade on your skill set, there has to be information about the skills that you offer. And there has to be information about demand. And there has to be information about things. If your aspiration in life is to become a plumber because you foresee that there's going to be a shortage of plumbers in the future, you're still trading on information, right? You're banking on the expectation that there's going to be some kind of that there's going to be a high price floor, for your services in the future. Okay, so you're still betting on information. But now it's not inside information like the people at WorldCom had. Okay, it's public information, but that's for the most part what people do. Okay, now at the same time, there's a role to be played. Okay. Or there's for people who have information to bring to the market. Okay. And that information is always going to have value. All right. So I think another way to look forward, okay, and think about what's going to have value. Okay. Well, what's going to have value is really going to be information that isn't widely available, okay, that the general public doesn't have, that they can't pick up the newspaper and read. The reason and the reason that the WorldCom, scandal kind of illustrates that, I say it has value. It's not just because the SEC, investigated it and, exposed a scandal and found, whatever that the fraud. It's not that the value wasn't just that Bernie Ebbers went to prison. It's that all these people who had the information, who worked at WorldCom. I've lost my place here, but that word scandal will probably bring me to it, or maybe that word before. There we go. Even before the scandal broke. Okay, those people, um, they made money. Okay, I mean, the fair market value of Enron stock, okay, was approximately 6%, okay, of what these people, of what the early sellers made, okay? So these people made money just based on their information. What was their information? Well, their information was that the CEO was, committing fraud, and okay, they got paid for that, And so where's the harm? Okay? Where's the harm in any of that? Where's the harm in any of that? Um, they make money, but no one lost money. Okay. You could say the market, you could say investors, that sold WorldCom, or that purchased WorldCom from these people, at these inflated prices. You could argue that they were harmed, but they were trading on public information. I mean, had those inside traders not traded on that information, then uh, you know, those same people still would have been harmed. They still would have been buying WorldCom stock at those over inflated prices, right? They wouldn't have been paying fair market value. So the harm still would have occurred, even or it would have been ongoing had that scandal had the insiders not traded. Now, I said I was going to try to destroy a couple of the narratives here, and so maybe a good way to segue into the next narrative I want to take a swing at is pull up the Wikipedia page now on insider trading. Okay, insider trading, bad, right? Now the Wikipedia page doesn't, I expected like, an image of Satan or something up here, but I did we do get handcuffs. Okay, we got handcuffs. There you go. All right. So at least, they're trying to put you on notice. All right. Illegal. Can't do it. Now, then I tell you here, the rules are complex and vary significantly from country to country. That's one way of saying that, insider trading is actually legal in some countries. It was legal in Japan until like, I don't know, the 1990s or something like that. So, this idea that like it's a bad idea, okay, that we carry around, it's not universal. Okay. Now, I'm going to say a little bit more. Boy, Wikipedia's got a good arguments for further prohibition. Whoops. I don't, I want to know about the arguments for, all right, the opposite. Boy, look at this. It's, I guess it's got to be a long Wikipedia page because if it was short, that wouldn't be good. All right. But, what did this guy say? Here we go. All right. Legalize insider trading. Somebody's just here, 2009. Yeah, it's been a while since anybody's brought this up. All right. So where do they bring in? There it goes. Milton Friedman once asserted, you should want more insider trading, not less. See, I thought maybe I could just Google that phrase, but I thought if I just Googled what I did, I'd find it anyway. All right. You want more insider trading, not less. What's he talking about? He's talking about WorldCom. He says you want to give the people most likely to have knowledge about deficiencies of the company and incentive to make the public aware of that. An incentive. Let those WorldCom insiders make money in exchange for alerting the public to deficiencies of the company, right? So back up for a minute. If I just Google this, all right, we can see there's a whole bunch. Oh, here's a congressional insider trading scandal. All right, then we all know this is a big scandal. There's a law. Somebody tried to introduce, or somebody, there's a proposed law reintroducing. It's been introduced before. Okay, so take another swing at it, I guess. All right. We know, this is a big scandal. Everyone's like, these members of Congress, they're trading on inside information, and it's legal for them, and we should ban it. Okay. Nobody's saying, why don't we just legalize it? Like, why don't we just legalize it for everybody? Okay. So that being a member of Congress, gives you access. It is just one of many ways. Okay, that insiders can influence the market here. Let's see who's arguing for. Just Google this term. Okay, Cato isn't sure. They're asking. All right, Case Western says it would be a disaster. Now, why would it be a disaster? I think the common argument is that it's going to cause investors to lose faith. People won't invest if they think that the stock market is unfair, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. I think that's the argument. People, people, if we legalize insider trading in the U.S., then people would just figure that all the stock prices are just rigged by insiders, and they wouldn't invest. Okay, well, isn't that who's harmed by that? Okay, are consumers harmed by having insiders bring information to the market that are not artificially, but that reduces the cost of commodities or services that were artificially propped up, because insiders couldn't trade. It may be that it benefits, the average consumer. It may be, and we have to ask ourselves again, who's the victim? Mentioned earlier that, what happened at, come on. What happened at WorldCom was, in a sense, a victimless crime. Okay. Well, why did we create these stock markets in the first place? I wonder if anybody will give us a history of the stock market. Will Wikipedia do that? Okay. History. 12th century France. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. History. All right. Why were these people doing this stuff? Why were they doing this? What was the purpose? Okay. We think today that the purpose of creating a stock market is to allow people to get rich. That if investors are investing in stocks and getting rich, then we think the stock market is doing what it's supposed to do, right? And it's easy to see why, when you start looking at the history of stock markets, why people might think that, because it looks like the early stock markets were set up by these bankers, Venetian bankers. Okay. It looks like it was done, for those reasons. Okay. And it says here the function purpose, it's a way for company to raise money. Okay. But, they could also do that by borrowing. Right. Okay. So it's one of the most important ways. They're kind of hedging. It's not the only way for a company to raise money. I mean, they could just borrow it. Okay. It says this allows businesses to be publicly traded. Okay. And raise additional financial capital. Okay. And then it creates liquidity and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't say here that it's good because it creates an investor class. It doesn't say that it's good because it enriches investors. All right. So let's give Wikipedia at least some credit for that. Okay. At least they don't say that the stock market exists in order to make you rich, or in order to ensure that, you don't lose your shirt investing in WorldCom. Okay. That's not the purpose of the stock market. Now, what the actual purpose of a stock market is maybe up for debate. Okay. Maybe, maybe they don't serve any useful purpose. Okay. But one can argue that they serve a very important purpose. And in order to understand that, I'm going to introduce another narrative shattering term, price discovery. Price discovery, which is different. And they say, tell you right up front, it's different from valuation. Good on Wikipedia. Okay. Price discovery is just the process by which you discover how much something is worth. If you want to know how much a barrel of oil is worth, there's a process you go through to discover, okay, what the price is. Price discovery. What insiders were doing at WorldCom, okay, was they were facilitating price discovery. That's what inside trading is always going to do. It's always going to facilitate price discovery, right? So if we're interested in getting prices right, if we want to ensure that we're paying a fair cost for a product, then we need to have a reliable process of price discovery. All right. Now, if we go back to the idea that all markets are information markets, I wonder if anyone said that. Wonder if I can find anyone saying that. I guess not. Not seeing it. Okay. Well, okay. If all markets are information markets, then who is served by excluding information from a market, from excluding inside information from a market? Why not let the insiders trade? Why not let the insiders benefit if the net result is to create fair prices for consumers? The argument against it would be an argument brought by investors, people who are, expecting maybe to get rich on stocks or something like that, who don't want to lose their shirt on WorldCom or whatever. I'm not sure, really. Do your own research and see what the arguments against insider trading are. Okay. See if you can come up with your own arguments for or against insider trading. Um, I wouldn't encourage anyone to read too much further into Milton Friedman beyond that quote that I gave you. Do your own thinking, come up with your own reasoning here. But anyway, that's I think probably the most I can do right now in terms of narrative shattering with those two words. And so, information market. All markets are information markets. Okay. That's the take home point. There's nothing special about these information markets. Just delete that word information. Just call it a market. All markets are information markets. Okay. I'm the regular guy signing off.